Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is a Drivecast episode. Heading to work, going in a little bit early because we're short on people due to COVID. And I don't know if it's because I just think people got lazy, man, where nobody had to work and they got used to that. And just don't want to work anymore. They'd rather sit there and collect a check. So that's just my personal opinion. Sorry if you hear rattling. I got some classes in here, so. But yeah, just doing a 9 to 5. I actually don't mind going in early every now and then because I get off at 5 a.m. I put out a podcast this morning, and then I'm going to put this one out while I'm working tonight, and then when I get off work, I plan on doing another one. You guys know how I roll. I'll take a week off and then come in and just make 3 or 4 podcasts, and then take another week off, you know. For October, I don't know if you guys have been listening to any of the other episodes. I've been trying to put out more of horror themed stuff for Halloween and stuff like that. So more of paranormal stuff. I got some true crime stuff. I got a Jack the Ripper series that I've been doing, which is what I'm gonna do. I think I'll probably do a Jack the Ripper episode tonight when I get off work. I already got it planned out and stuff. But yeah, just that, and I've been putting up reruns of older episodes from my old YouTube channel. It got taken down, well, not taken down, but it got too many strikes, so I can't post on there anymore. So I'm putting out, older paranormal stuff for the month of October, of rerun episodes of, Halloween related podcast episodes and old ghost hunting videos. So if you're an audio listener only, check us out on YouTube and subscribe, man. That way you can kind of put a face to the voice. And like I said, we put out ghost hunting videos and stuff, cryptid hunting videos, stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, go over to YouTube and subscribe. It's Conspiracy Corner Podcast, and the profile picture is a white rabbit with a samurai sword. And if you're a visual viewer, and you want to save, your battery on your phone or whatever, you can check us out on Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, Google Podcast, Radio Public. But yeah, we'll get on with the show though. This episode, honestly, I'm going to probably title it Biker Stories. I am not a biker, but these are just 2 stories that were kind of crazy stories I figured I'd share with you of encounters with bikers that I've had over the years. The closest I've gotten to being a biker was I was building for a little bit. It was a motorized bicycle, which is pretty fucking cool, actually. I never was able to finish it because I'm not super mechanical. I got it almost halfway built, though. What I did was I took a old 50s style bicycle, brand new, a Huffy, and bought it was a Japanese, I think it was 50 cc's or something like that, engine, a block, and basically you just attach it to a bike, but it looks and sounds easy, but yeah, it's harder than it is, and it basically turns it into a little motorcycle. But yeah, I guess the first story would be, here in Kentucky, we got a local, and they're not even a biker gang, they're a local club, called, the Raptors. And I bartended for 8 years, so I got to know One of the Raptors, his name was JR. He's got a little mechanical shop here in town, so shout out to them, JR Baker. That's the name of the shop too. So there you go. There's a little plug. But he's like a big old dude, big biker dude. He's super cool. He's got this real tiny wife, Versa. She's cool as hell. They're just super nice people, you know. And he's pretty wild. He's a buff dude. He's been to jail a couple times for just, I don't think like long-term jail sentences, but he has been to jail a couple times for like just crazy biker shit. But the Raptors are a club. They're not even like a motorcycle gang. Now this story goes back to my first job, which was at a Minute Mart, which is actually funny because my wife works at the same place that I actually used to work at. She got the job years later. But, yeah, I was like 15, 16 years old. I was kind of wild then, but this altercation that I had was, it wasn't one of my wild days. I mean, I was using drugs and stuff at the time, but I was sober this day. But basically, it's a gas station, and in the back is like a pizza shop. And they would always put me on register, and I fucking hated being on register. Because it's in the town that the shop was in is kind of shady. And not all the people, I'm not saying all the people that live there are like crummy people, but there's a lot of crummy people. There's a lot of like crackheads, meth heads, pill heads, shit like that. So I always hated working front register. I always wanted them to put me in the back, in the kitchen, so I could listen to my music and just make pizzas all night, but they never would. So I would get complaints and shit every now and then. But this wasn't so much a complaint. There's this biker who's a member of the Raptors, and they call him Mad Dog. And just like got the beard, the hair, you know. Typical biker dude. But the dude acts like he's in like a motorcycle gang. Like he was wearing the Raptors colors and shit. And it's like, dude, you're a part of a club, not a freaking gang, dude. And I was working on the front register, and so he walked in, and I just nodded to him, you know. I'm not the type to be like, hey, how are you? Hello. You know, but when you come through the front door, I'll nod to you. And he just stops. And he stands there for a second. So I nodded again. And he's just like trying to stare me down, and I just kind of like laughed. And he said, what's so funny? I said, I don't know, I'm just saying hello, you know. And he said, are you eyeballing me? And I'm like, no, I just saying hello, you know. Anytime a customer comes in, I say hello, you know. Well, I feel like you're eyeballing me. You don't eyeball me, boy. And I was just like, okay. So he like got his shit or went to the bathroom. I can't remember. It's been years ago. I was in high school. And when he walks away, he stops at the door again and he says, yeah, don't eyeball me, boy. I'll take care of that. I'll remember that. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like 120 pounds at the time. I mean, if you guys have seen like videos and stuff of me, if you watch on YouTube, you know I'm a tiny dude. And at the time, I was like 16 years old. This big burly ass biker, you know, starting shit with me. I'm just trying to do my fucking job and survive and make it through the day. But then he comes back later, And I happened to be in the back making pizzas or whatever, because I was in middle register, which is like you can make pizzas every now and then, like help them out or whatever. So I was in the back either making pizzas or doing something back there in the kitchen. And this dude came back like several hours later, and this guy that I worked with at the time, he comes back there and he's like, dude, there's like 3 bikers out there looking for you. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He said, yeah. There's like 3 of them, like big ass dudes, you know, and they're looking for you. And I was like, so what'd you tell him? And he's like, I told him, you know, I don't know who you're talking about, that he's not here, you know, it's just me. So he was cool. He lied for me and said I wasn't there, but yeah, I thought that was fucking crazy. So years later, like I said, I bartended for 8 years, and I got to know J.R. Baker and Versa, his wife, and he was like, hey Abe, you need to come out. They have a clubhouse out in Perryville, Kentucky. And he's like, dude, you need to come out to the clubhouse and party with us one day. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not a raptor. And he said I was an honorary raptor. He said my biker name was Sweet Tater. And my ex-wife at the time, her name was French Fry, and then our kid was Tater Tots. So Sweet Tater, French Fry, and Tater Tots. So like he'd always call me Sweet Tater, you know. And like once you get a biker name, like it sticks. But he's like, yeah, you're good. Just like when you come in, he said, bring a 6-pack because it's BYOB. He said, bring a 6-pack and just tell him you're with J.R. Baker, and they'll know. But I was like, man, he did say their parties get fucking wild too, dude. He's like, man, you need to come out there, dude. Bring some beer, drink some beer. He said these biker chicks, man, they just take their shirts off, walk around with titties hanging out. I was like, cool. But I told him, I was like, man, I can't be going up there. I said, as much as I want to, it sounds like a blast, but I can't. He's like, why? I said, well, I pissed off one of your members. And he's like, who'd you piss off? I said, some dude, I said, he's mean as hell. They call him Mad Dog. And he's like, I don't know a Mad Dog. And I said, this was years ago, and I rehashed the story that I just told you all. And he was just like, I'll take care of that. And he's like, you said his name was Mad Dog? And I said, yep. And he said, I'll take care of that. I was just like, oh shit. And he said, don't worry about that. He said, you can come out to the party anytime you want. Anytime you see bikes out there, you're welcome to stop by. He said, but I'll take care of that. So I was like, oh shit. So I thought that was cool, you know. But yeah, I got another biker story. Now, I had put out an episode way back in the day. I think it was last year sometime. And it was actually, I have another podcast. I only have like 2 or 3 episodes on there. It's called Blue Pill Podcast. And I was honestly kind of doing it as a side podcast. It was only 3 episodes, and it was just basically like life stories. Honestly, this technically could be a Blue Pill podcast, but I'm going to put it out on Conspiracy Corner because, I don't know, it's biker related. Maybe somebody will find it entertaining. But I told one of the episodes I told about this girl that I dated. And I'm not rehashing that whole story because it was literally a whole entire episode. But this has to do with her. Now, I was in the middle of a divorce with my ex-wife, and she had cheated on me with some older dude. I think he was like 40 or something. And I was pissed, you know, and I'm like, well, fuck it, man. If she's getting dick, you know, we're not divorced yet, but I'm not Christian or nothing. I'm like, I should be able to get pussy, man. So I ended up dating a girl that she went to school with. I was like 23, 24 at the time, and maybe 25. And I ended up with this girl, and this girl was 18 years old. And if you're like, well, the numbers aren't matching up, the school that she went to was literally kindergarten through 12th grade, because it was a super small town called Bergen, Kentucky. Like, you can literally drive through it with your eyes closed in 2 seconds and miss the entire town. So I ended up dating this girl, Danielle, and I won't say her last name, but her dad was a member of an actual biker gang called the Outlaws. Now, there's a Netflix special, a Netflix documentary on the Outlaws, and he's actually in the documentary. He didn't do interviews or anything like that, but you can see him in old footage of them partying or riding around, whatever. He actually was watching the documentary and was like, holy shit, there I am. Now, this dude's name is Diamond Dave. And I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of freaked out to meet him. You know, this is basically the story of me meeting him for the first time. So I show up like an hour early, and I don't know why in my head, I guess where I'm burnt out, and at the time I was a heavy drinker. For some reason, I did the math wrong, and I was just like, yeah, like I ended up showing up an hour early with my daughter, and so I knock on the door, or I call her, and I'm like, hey, I'm here, and she's like, you weren't supposed to be here until like an hour from now. And I'm like, well, I live an hour away. And she was already like, oh man, my dad's gonna be pissed. So I get up to the apartment, and it's a ghetto ass fucking apartment. It's a huge apartment complex because it's in Lexington, Kentucky. And he opens the door, and he's in women's underwear. I kid you not. Like a Speedo, a black Speedo. And he's like, I told you such and such time. And I'm just like, oh shit. Like, here I'm already pissing this dude off. So he goes to the back room, and he ends up like getting dressed and shit. And he comes out, and without even shaking my hand, I put my hand out to shake his hand. He just says, we need to talk. And Stella was already kind of freaked out. And I just kind of sat there and held her hand because the dude had a shotgun leaning against the wall. And I was like, yeah, that's all I need is for her to like walk over and pick it up. You know, I turned my head for 2 seconds and she blows her head off or something crazy. Or drops it and it misfires. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, he grabs like a little snub-nosed revolver and a little photo album, and he puts the revolver in his back of his pants, and he walks over to me. He's like, all right, let's follow me. And he says, you need to leave her. And Danielle was at the apartment. And so I start putting my daughter down, and she starts freaking out. Like, she's already like, man, I don't like this dude. Like, kids, man, I swear they feel energies and shit. And I tried putting her down like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, dude, she ain't, you know, she ain't gonna let me go. So I take her with me, and I'm following him, and it's an apartment complex. So we go downstairs, and we go outside to this separate building, which is like a laundromat building. And he pulls his gun out. And there's other people in there too, which is fucking crazy. So they see that he just pulls a gun out. And they obviously are like, oh shit, let's get the fuck out of here. And he points it at me. And here I am holding my daughter, who's like, she was like itty bitty. She was able to walk, but She was little, you know. And that pissed me off, because I'm like, dude, if that, not that I didn't really fear that I would get shot by him, like that he would shoot me. But, I mean, he had shot someone in the past. He had spent 10 years in prison for, they ended up giving him, like, attempted murder or manslaughter, one of the two charges, because back in the day, he was drinking at a bar, and some Mexican hopped on his bike and was trying to steal it, so he went outside and just unloaded on the dude, and the dude died, and he spent 10 years in prison for it. So, I mean, he was capable of murder. But, yeah, so that pissed me off. And the reason it pissed me off, I didn't think he would shoot me. I didn't think he was that dumb or wild. But, I just didn't want to see it misfire and either hit my daughter or hit me. Because then I would, honestly, at that point, I'd be, like, fucking fighting the dude and to get the gun, so I could blow his brains out. But, and then he hands me the photo album, and he's like, I want you to look at this. So I'm looking at it, and it's all old Polaroid pictures of, like, him and his biker gang. And he's like, these are my friends, you know. And he's like, I heard you're going through a divorce, and I don't know that situation, and, if you hurt my daughter, you know, they're going to come after you. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to hurt your daughter. And so he's like, all right. So, like, it was super awkward. I didn't know what to say, you know. I just looked through the photos, and I was just like, he's like, yeah, I want you to look through it. And I looked through it, and I'm just like, cool. And he's like, yeah, I'm a member of the Outlaws. And I guess he was trying to, like, impress me or scare me. And I was just like, cool, I guess. Yeah, okay. And so we were walking back to the apartment, and as soon as we get in there, he's like, I'm gonna need your address. And honestly, I shouldn't have done it, because it was pretty dangerous. But the thing is Danielle had already been to my house, like, multiple times. But, I mean, we were just starting dating, so I don't know. I didn't really know her too well just yet, you know? So I didn't know, like, if I would have gave him a fake address or something, I don't know if she would have said something, and then that would have pissed him off even more, and then she would have just led him to the house. You know what I mean? When you're first dating someone or around someone, you don't know how they are. But also at the same time, I was like, you know, fuck it. Like, I'm not going to hurt your daughter. Like, am I going to be with your daughter till the day I die? Probably not, you know. But I'm not going to, like, physically hurt her or be verbally abusive to her. Like, I'm just going to treat her like a normal fucking girlfriend, you know. But, so I gave him the address, you know. Told him where I live. He wrote it down. And then he's like, let's go out to eat. And then, you know, I wouldn't have cared, but it's like, dude didn't even know how much money I had on me. And he chooses, of all places, like Red Lobster. You know, not like, hey, let's go out to eat. Do you have any money? Is what I would have said. You know, like, and if I, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just weird like that. Like, I would never just be like, let's go out to eat, you know, and just automatically choose Red Lobster of all places. I mean, that shit's expensive, dude. You know, I would have been like, hey, do you want to go out to eat? You know, like, how much money do you got on you? Not trying to be nosy, but we got a Red Lobster up the road. If you got enough, we could get it. Or if not, we can go get some McDonald's, you know, whatever. So we end up going to Red Lobster, but before we all get in my car, because this dude had a DUI, so he didn't even have his license. No vehicle, so we get in the car, which is fine, no biggie, you know, life sucks. People go through shit, I get it. So we get in the car, and The dude starts digging through my shit, going through my glove box, going through my center console. And, because my car's kind of trashed. And I ain't gonna lie, like I said, I was drinking pretty heavy at the time, so I wasn't drunk or nothing, you know, because I had my daughter, but I'm sure I smelt like it from the night before or whatever. So he's like, I smell alcohol, you know. And he just starts digging through my shit. And he's like, do you drink and drive? And I said, no, which is a lie. But at the time, you know. And he's like, good, because you better not be drinking and driving with my daughter in here. I was like, okay. So we go to Red Lobster, eat, super awkward. We get back to the house, we hang out for a little bit, and it was already dark, so I had to go to work the next morning. She had to go to school. Like I said, she was in high school. I was robbing the cradle. So we leave, you know, and he's like, take her straight home, you know, nowhere else, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I got a kid in diapers, and, you know, she's got a sippy cup and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So I'm driving her home, and it's from Lexington all the way to Bergen, Kentucky, which is like it's already like an hour drive. And Stella, my daughter, was in the back seat, just cranky as hell, like, because it was already getting late. It was past her bedtime. And she had run out of juice in her bottle, well, sippy cup, and was just throwing a fit. And I said, man, I gotta stop and get her some juice, you know. So we stop at this little gas station, get some juice for Stella. She's drinking it. She passes out and goes to sleep. We drive, I drop, we get to Danielle's house, and, you know, all of a sudden, well, we go in, and we're just chilling and shit, and the phone rings, and it's her fucking dad, and he's like, put Danielle on the phone, and he's going off on her, like, what took you so long, you know, and, she explained to him, like, look, you know, we got a baby with us, and she started freaking out, and, we had to get some juice, you know, it's a little baby, dude, chill out. So he says, put Abe on the phone. So I get on the phone with Diamond Dave, and he's like, I told you to take her straight home. And I said, look, dude, I got a baby, man. The baby was throwing a tantrum. I said, you know, I had to get her something to drink. And he said, first of all, don't call me dude, you call me sir. And I'm like, ooh, you're an hour away, you ain't got a vehicle, I'm on the phone with you, I could cuss you out right now and just say, fuck all this. But I said, nah.